And we're live, dude. Jimmy Pomponio, welcome on, sir.
Mate, thank you so much. I'm super pumped to chat. I always love chatting to you. You've been a really, really great friend and mentor of mine. So thank you for having me on.
Mate, the pleasure is all mine. Guys, for those of you who don't know Jimmy, Jimmy's had success in a number of areas of life, particularly in business. So Jimmy's first of all, he has a beautiful partner by the name of Jess. And Jimmy's well and truly punching. I think we can all
I am.
acknowledge that.
I am.
And he's done exceptionally well in
I
the relationship.
fucking, mate, I'm successful in business and funny as fuck. It gets us a long way, bro. You too.
100%, dude. But then also, like, because you've crushed it in business, man. Because you came from like literally nothing. I won't spoil your story. I'll let you tell that. But you came from literally nothing. You built up some successful gyms, made multi-million-dollar gyms, and then on top of that too, you now run a coaching company where you help gym owners go and scale and grow their gyms, and you're crushing in that as well, man. Like, dude, it's really cool. So where I want to start is what was life before things were good? You know, we met about 3 and a bit years ago now, as you said, just after your birthday, and you're in a dark place. What was life like then?
Yeah, mate, like I guess I had a lot of trauma in my life. Like my mum committed suicide when I was 2, which, when I was kind of 15, 16, I'd say like I don't miss her. It didn't affect me. And I didn't realize, kind of how fucked up I was with the fear of loss. And I felt like no one loved me and I didn't feel appreciated. And I don't think that kind of helped with my dad, developing a heroin addiction. When I was a kid, I bounced from house to house and things like that. So I had like a pretty troubled childhood, and I was like a fucking nightmare as a kid. I was so bad at school. I wouldn't listen to anyone. I've had people say that like, they thought I would end up in jail and stuff like that. And it kind of all culminated. I, started the gyms and I was loving it. And I found that was kind of my outlet where I could express myself and I felt safe, because one of the things I love about business is if the business goes well, that's on me. If it goes poorly, that's on me. I feel like I can truly like control my own destiny for many years. But I was missing this, part of my life where I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel cared about. And I was doing a lot of alcohol. I was doing like, a lot of drugs at the time, like kind of going out and just doing dumb shit. And it kind of all came to a head, one night where I was having some trouble with my missus. I thought we're going to split up. I took like about 60 sleeping tablets. Thank fuck they were from Thailand. So I don't think they were actually sleeping tablets. And then woke up 4 days later. I was at a hospital. I was fucking like handcuffed to a bed, bro, in there with my family around me. And what had happened is I took all these sleeping tablets and then a fire started in my house, like kind of, started a small fire in my house kind of thing. And my life was like on the fucking rocks, right? I had a good business, but I didn't realize all this like pain that I was holding, and that, I was always like kind of once every month, once every 2 months, I'd be really suicidal. And I thought that was normal. Even though I'm a higher chance of committing suicide because of what my mum did. But, on the outside, people were like, hey, he's got like a pretty good life, had a nice car, beautiful missus. But, my life was absolutely in fucking turmoil, to be fair. And I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? So it was pretty tough times, bro, there for a bit, for sure.
What were you doing at that time? Because, like, you said that you didn't realize it, but like that it was not normal to think about suicide every now and then, like once every month or two. Did you have any help around you? Did you talk with anyone about it? Did you do anything about it?
No, mate, like I kind of like thought about it. So you were the kind of first person that kind of helped me. And then I had a few psychologists and things. But I guess the idolizations of suicide where, I would think about jumping off a cliff, or my mum hung herself, bro. So I'd think about hanging myself and just what it would be like. Like, right, the time I took the tablets was the first action I actually took on it. But I'll just kind of think about it a lot. And like I didn't realize until I actually asked someone, is this normal, where I got to like learn about the understandings. But it was yeah, it was really tough. And it probably started when I like maybe when I was in like my early 20s kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a funny part of my life, but don't really think about it too much anymore. Which is, incredible. It's fucking better than, being sad all the time.
100%, way better. And so, okay, so you wake up like chained up in hospital. Your family's all around
It
you.
was
It's like,
fucked, bro. It was
yeah.
fucked. It was crazy. So like, yeah, and there was like cops outside my door and shit. And like I remember my cousin was there and I got up and they just started crying. And I was just like, I had no idea what happened. So still, during that time, like I remember I went out and had a beer with a friend on the Sunday Arvo, and then I woke up on Wednesday afternoon at 6 p.m. Like just no memory and shit. It's fucking loose.
So what did you do from then? Did it cause was that like a rock bottom moment for you? Like what
It
happened out
was
of that?
Yeah, mate, it was definitely rock bottom. You know what I mean? I had to have, a really like good hard look at myself. And, I remember my auntie, she was like, I'm not surprised this happened. You've been dealing with a lot of stuff in your life which you haven't dealt with. And then I went on a different self-development journey, but a development journey I needed where I focused on me, like not on business and sport and health and stuff like that. So I feel like it was, guys, that was like the lowest of the low, and it was pretty fucked up. I'm never going to say it was, a good thing, but in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like I got out of it, reasonably untouched, and I was able to actually work on myself as a person, and probably work on what I truly needed to work on. Not just like how to generate more leads on Facebook ads and shit.
Yeah. So what did you start working on? And by the way, generating
um,
leads on Facebook ads
It's
is very
mate,
important.
it's good skill, but it doesn't help you be the man you want to be. So mate, I think initially I got like a psychologist and I just chatted to her about like my childhood and things like that, and would kind of talk for an hour, 30 minutes, would just talk shit. It was sick, and then the last 30 would talk about my mum. So that was months and months and months of crying and forgiving. But then I started coaching with you, which, my psychologist Rach was valuable. But for me to have someone like you who I looked up to, who knew some of the struggles that I have in business, was you made it really easy to relate to that. And then we just started to consistently talk about like the man you are in the mirror. We got really clear on like what I actually wanted in life and what made me happy with my health, my fitness, my relationships. Still like I'm not mates with my dad at the moment, but we were able to reach out where I called him one day. I'm not sure if you remember. And
Yeah.
I said that I forgive him, and that I love him and care about him and stuff. And, just worked a lot on my personal happiness, but probably like more so values. Like, what do I accept? What don't I accept? Like, I'm not sure if you remember one day I called you. I remember I was on the bike in my unit and I go, mate, like my mates are having a fucking bucks party. They're going to like get on it like hard. And I was like, what do I say? I was like, James, how do I tell them I don't want to go? And you just like, just fucking tell them you don't want to go. And that's not what you're about, and organize like a dinner with them and shit. But I didn't actually have those skills. I knew for a while what I wanted, and you helped me get clear on that. But then working with you, you actually taught me some just basic skills that I didn't have, and I'm not sure why I didn't have them to be able to execute on, the game plan that we set together, bro.
100%. And one thing actually, I was listening like to you as you're talking about that, the difference between having a man working with a man in a situation where he understands you, he gets your business, he knows what you're about, versus working with your
It
psych. I love psychs.
completely different.
I think they're
They're
great.
good,
Yeah. What was the difference
different.
between working with a woman versus working with a man?
So with Rach, like it was, so it was a more, I think they do like cognitive behavioral therapy. So it was more talking about my feelings and emotions. But I don't think so. Rachel's beautiful. She's got a couple of kids, good husband, but she didn't realize the drive that I have as a man and the expectations that I wanted to hold myself to. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean? So there, she's a lot softer. So I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, say if I was like, I don't want to do this, you'll just be like, fucking oath, you shouldn't do it. Cut it the fuck out. And she'd be like, hey, if you slip up here and there, it's okay. Where you're like empathetic, if you slip up, call me, but we're not going to fucking slip up. So just like the way that you kind of spoke to me and communicated, you understood a lot of things, and you just held me to a much higher account than the psychologist did. Psychologists don't keep you accountable. They're not like, did you
Mm.
do this last week and stuff? You're more just talking about your emotions, or that was my experience with them anyway.
I found the same thing. I had a shrink called Shamila as I was going through my bipolar phase, and like she was great and she was very helpful. But the greatest results I ever got was when I was working with a man. I believe, I don't know about you, but I believe that if you're a bloke and you want to be mentored in the ways of business, if you want to fix your manhood up, essentially who you are, you need a man to do that, not a woman. There's this big thing about pushing, like, equality, everyone's the same. It's fucking bullshit. Like, that's a load of crap. It's like you need more men in your life. So, like, on that, what men do you currently have in your life, or what roles do you have, like male figures currently, that are helping you now?
Probably big one's my cousin. So he's great. He's got two beautiful daughters. He's someone that I rely on a lot. Also, as well, my business coach Charlie has become like a really good friend. I've got like a few mates that I hang around. I'm like reasonably introverted, so I don't like to hang out with a ton of people. And people like yourself who I get to connect with once a fortnight, once a month, and things like that would be the big ones for sure. My uncle, Michael's pretty amazing. So I have probably a better support network, but more so, I think with my support network, the thing that I learn is to be able to be vulnerable. Like if I'm chatting with you, don't just like, yeah, James, everything's fucking sick, life's good. Like that, I can have these conversations with these men in my life and go, James, it's actually pretty fucked at the moment. I've had a pretty tough day. And I think that's what you need from your support network, not just pretend your life's amazing, to be able to tell them like, I'm really struggling with this, or I'm having a big decision. And being able to rely on them where they'll, just reply to a text message or a voice message, or maybe jump on a call, is like really, really invaluable to me.
What effect is having that network? What effect does that have on you?
So it makes me feel like safe, that I have like an amazing group of mentors who can essentially share with me their life experience and what they did in that circumstance of, dudes who run incredible businesses. They've got really amazing families. They've like traveled a lot of different kind of aspects. And mate, it also makes me feel really loved as well. Like a lot of the people in my network, I would do anything for. So say if you called me and if you needed me, I would be there today. But I feel like the people within my network would always do the same, if that makes sense. If I really fucking needed something, I know I've got, 5-10 people who would drop everything and support me. And I think, that just makes you feel more comfortable, in life, that you do have a good support network of, dudes who are fucking beasts, essentially.
And so, like, so you've assembled this team, right, of people who are around you. It's had an impact on your business. Like, how has that changed your ability? Because you're super successful, man. Actually, it'd be great if you could let everyone know like what you're doing at the moment as well, like with your business and where you're at. But like, what impact did having a really good team around you have?
So our business is going good. Like I just not sure where I'm gonna take it, which may be another episode, but our revenue is quite big. We profit about 100K a month. I love what I do. I love helping people. I really enjoy everything I get to do. I get to hang out with you today. It's fucking off the charts. And how that helped is, I realized at quite a young age in business that I'm actually a very stupid person. You know what I mean? I go, hey, if
Yeah.
and I had a simple model in business where I'm going to hire someone who has what I want in life, and I'm going to fucking do everything they tell me to do without deviation until I have proof that it doesn't work, right? But for that to happen, I have to be as good as them at that set task before I have proof it doesn't work, right? And that helped me really well in business, and that's my main business fucking fundamental. If you want to get really good at Facebook ads, hire someone who's the best, get as good as them, and then say it doesn't fucking work, because I promise you it works. But in kind of a life aspect, I've got all these amazing people of some people who don't have kids, some who do have kids, people who have kids that are like 8 years old, people have kids that are like just, newborns. Also different life experiences, travel experience, different relationship dynamics that they have, where I can just kind of reach out to them, let them know, what issue I'm having, go, hey, the biggest question I ask people is, I'm like, James, what would you do if you were me right now? That's the biggest question I ask. So then you'll kind of let me know what you would do if you were me. I copy it completely, or I take the best 2 to 3 parts, or if I get feedback from someone else, and you gather this data and then you just go and fucking execute, and make sure you say thank you for the people who give you advice as well, guys.
100%. And how do you balance doing all that? Because it requires a lot of work. But how do you balance that also while maintaining your relationship?
So with our relationship, we just kind of structure everything that we want to do in my calendar, and I treat it like work. You know what I mean? So we have date night booked in, we have our travel plan for a year ahead, we have our Saturday massage booked in, we've got our evening connection time and routine booked in and stuff like that. And then Jess and I essentially just catch up like once a week for a little 30-minute power and meeting. Where we share what's going well, what we're grateful for, any issues. We have a question: did I do anything that pissed you off last week? And then again, just like you just go and execute and try and implement as best you can.
What effect does that have? Like since and really, what's the before and after? So before you started doing that compared to now, what's different in your relationship?
Well, like before, like we'd just argue about little different things. There would be levels of miscommunication over stupid shit, like what we're doing on a Sunday, and she had a plan and I had a plan. And, we didn't express how grateful we are for each other. And there was definitely times where we weren't as connected and stuff. But I think now with the communication rhythm we have with the meeting, and then we've also, been really honest about what her personal goals are, what mine are. We work together, so what our business goals are, and then we kind of just piece it together, and essentially just make like 6-week game plans on what we need to do to improve our business. So, say if it's like, hey, we need a bit more intimacy, then like, okay, cool, we'll do like a special date weekend at the Crown in Sydney. We'll do this, and we're just constantly kind of iterating. What we're doing to make sure that we both have what we need at certain times. Like, for example, she's been like away for 2 weeks in America. So we're able to communicate. I was like, what do you need from me when you get home? Make sure that's all sorted. So she comes home to her dream house and it's everything she wants is there. And then we're planned like the Tuesday she gets back for me to have off work, and it's all mapped out by the hour of what we're going to do with all the fucking funnest shit that we want to do, which hopefully a lot of it's in bed.
Do you schedule that in too?
Oh, kind of. I've got a rough schedule. It's like as soon as you walk in the door.
Dude, I had this one with a number of guys who I coached. They said they found it hard to have like spontaneous romance and whatnot. It was like the biggest hack was like put spontaneous romance in your calendar, because it may not be spontaneous for you, but it's spontaneous for her. Game changer. Total game changer.
I actually have in my Asana twice a week on Tuesday, because remember, like I was single like 10 years ago, right? Longer, maybe 11. But remember when you used to text chicks and you'd flirt with them and say how sexy they are and send photos? It was exciting. So I kind of like that stuff. So I schedule it in my Asana where I message her. I'm like, you look so fucking beautiful today, and like stuff like that, where we do a bit of like flirting by kind of text. And I feel like it's like exciting. So you just fucking put it in your Asana, guys, and then execute if you want to do it. It's pretty easy.
Dude, running your life by a calendar is so much easier. I don't know how, like, what I would do with my life if I did not have my calendar. I didn't have automation.
Yeah, well, also as well, mate, like with actually, I'm not going to say I have depression and bipolar anymore. I want to stop that label that I give myself. But if I have free time, I kind of get in my head a little bit. So I like to have like a jam-packed calendar. I always like to be doing shit. So I just like try to get the most out of every day. And when I'm doing that, a lot of the, negative thoughts that potentially, still pop up every now and then just don't happen. I try to be so busy that all I can think about is like having the best life possible. And that's where you book yourself out from, start to finish of like fun, epic shit that you want to do.
100%. And you actually said something really interesting, like right at the start of that, which was you don't identify as having depression and bipolar. I think they are the words that you used. So why is it you don't want to say that I have depression? Or why is it you don't want to say that I have bipolar?
I think the label creates weakness, and it also creates for me a reason to be sad. Like, because often when I'm depressed, as I'll just lay in bed all day and stuff. So I used to not say it proudly, but I would talk on podcasts like I have depression, I have bipolar, and I felt like it labeled me of not the man that I'm, going to be. So I feel like for me personally, I have to look after my mental health, as I'm sure everyone kind of does. And there's certain things that I need to do to be happy and healthy, but I want to, slowly not have that label. So I've, had bipolar now for, nearly 10 years, and I've been saying that to people, but One of the things I focused on in my goals is where I just say I don't have it anymore. So I'm constantly trying to retrain myself. Instead of saying, just go, hey, I look after my mental health and I fucking get everything done, like dominate every day, rather than being like, I bipolar, I'm up and down and shit. You know what I mean?
100%.
So
Such a
yeah, I
better way
just
to
don't
look
think
at
it's
it.
serving me. It's not serving me anymore. Saying you have depression for me does not serve me. It does not make me a better man. It's just like a negative label. So I want to label myself little bit differently, the way I think about myself, the way I talk about myself, you know?
It completely changes the way you think about yourself. I mean, like, first of all, just like the research all says that when you apply a label to somebody, they act like that. Like, you tell a kid he's got ADHD, how do you think he's going to act? Like, he's going to be a nightmare. If you tell someone, oh, you got depression, do you think that makes them happy or sad? Does it actually improve it?
Man,
And it's like,
I remember when I first got depression, bro, I didn't leave the house for like 3 weeks. And like, I used to be such an outgoing person before I got told. So when I first got told I got bipolar, I went out one weekend, had a massive weekend, and then missed work for 3 days. And my business partner's like, hey, you got bipolar. When in reality, what I picked up from you, it's like, maybe stop being a fucking wanker every Saturday night, going out till 5 a.m. So maybe that's more important than bipolar. But anyways, when I got told, guys, I didn't leave the house for like 2 weeks. And I'd go for walks in Manly. People I've never fucking seen, and I'll be like, they know I've got bipolar. It fucked me up. Being told was horrible circumstance. It did not serve me at all. I kind of wish that during that stage that I actually latched onto you earlier, because there was just so many negative, kind of things around it. Rather than saying I need to look after my mental health, which we all fucking do. Every person.
Constant maintenance. Nobody is like completely set up and perfect all the time. It's continual maintenance. Like, I mean, I was talking on your podcast the other day about the team that I have around me. I have like fucking 10 people around me looking after me. It's like you got the same, you got a bunch of people looking after you. It's like you never fixed. Like, you never fixed. That's actually one of the things I also say at one of the events that the guys come through, Uncommon, on the breakthrough weekend. It's like everyone comes out of that weekend like, wow, like, I feel so much better. I'm so much more clear. I'm like, motherfucker, you're not fixed. This isn't like the end of the line. It's like, you're not done. You have all this work to do, and it's continual, and it's for the rest of your life. I know it's not the sexiest, best marketing thing to say, but it's true, because it's not that you have bipolar. It's just you're in a situation of bipolar currently. It's not that you are broken. It's not that you are wounded. You're not fucked. It's just the fact that you're in a time where you have some highs and lows, and you just need to work on evening that out a little bit. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think, the man that I need to be today, hopefully will be completely different to the man I am in 2, 3, 5 years, because we've grown so much and your life's, essentially completely different and better. So you've kind of always just got to, evolve. And that's where having the right mentors who, are 4, 5, 10 steps ahead of you, for me personally, has been the most valuable investment I've ever had, like, in my life. They're fucking bonkers.
What would you say then? Okay, so there's someone watching this, and they're Jimmy of a few years ago, right? They've had feelings of depression, had feelings of bipolar, had thoughts perhaps about suicide. They're just not. They're in a bit of a funk. They're in a bit of a rut. What would you tell them to do?
So initially get like a really good GP who like understands. So someone that you can chat to on the health side. But then just like find, a mentor or coach who's going to guide you. And I was lucky because I had 2 people. So I had Rach, who was amazing, and you guys knew how she kind of helped me from previously. But then, try and find a male who, has everything that you want in life, right? And has their mindset controlled. They are accountable. They have values. They're a man on a fucking mission, and pay them whatever you have to pay them to learn how they did it. That's what I'd recommend. Yeah.
Love it. That's sick, man. Dude, is there anything else that you'd love to add?
No, mate, I just want to say thank you as always. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I always say to people that you probably saved my life. Like, even after everything that happened, I was, obviously, pretty depressed and pretty rocked and very anxious and stuff. So I'm not sure where I'd be without you. So just want to say a big, big thank you for changing my life, bro.
Very humbled by that, man. Thank you.
Being a coach is sick, isn't it?
It never. No, I still got goosebumps.
I sometimes I nearly cry when I say it to you, because I'm like, even sometimes I message you, I'm just like, thank you so much and shit, because words can't express how much you changed my life. Like, it's bonkers. bonkers.
It's a feeling, man. Like from my end, it's like it's cool as fuck. Like there's no better feeling than seeing someone who was in a position of being shit and who is now dominating. It's like, man, like
I love how
I
you
had
say
I had a
you're
little
shit.
part in that. It's like awesome.
I love how you say it. You're shit, now you're pretty good. I love how
Yeah,
you say
let's
the
be frank, Jimmy. You were pretty shit. You compare the two now, bro. I'm like, I know which Jimmy I'd take.
It was some tough times.
Yeah,
Easy.
no,
Thank you,
you're
bro.
crushing, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you, man.
Anytime.